What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Taurean Rain Reloaded channel. If you are new, please be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Have your notifications set to all, and have your notifications set to all on your mobile devices as well. Also, be sure to like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms. So today, we will be talking about this woman by the name of Michele Hoskins. And this story is coming out of a place in Sebastian, Florida, where she stuffed her 93-year-old mother in a freezer in order to continue getting her disability benefits. So her mother died, and she did not report her mother as dead, or she probably took her mother out and did not report the mother was dead, and decided to stuff her in the freezer in order to continue to receive her mother's disability checks payments. And the reason why I'm almost so nonchalant about this is because I've done stories like this before in the past where people have done some of the most craziest things to their own parents in order to continue to get in their checks, whether it's Social Security or disability or whatever kind of monthly check that they get from the state that or the county that comes in. So let's go ahead and get into it. Police arrested a woman after months after they found her 93-year-old mother dead. Michele Hoskins, age 64, stuffed Marie Hoskins in a freezer in order to collect the late woman's disability benefits, say cops in Sebastian, Florida. The 93-year-old had died from natural causes, officers said, so she was dead and she just didn't report her as dead. Police announced Marie's death back in April, but did not immediately arrest anyone. A neighbor asked for a welfare check, they said at the time. The neighbors were concerned about not seeing Marie Hoskins for an extended period of time. Cops said they made multiple attempts to contact anyone in the home at 107 Paddock Street. Each was unsuccessful. They could not find Marie. Worrying about her, they managed to get a key to the residence from an out-of-town family member, and they entered the home, officers said. Inside, cops found a 64-year-old resident who they did not identify at the time except as Marie's daughter. She said she had not seen her mother in some time, police said. As officers checked the rest of the home in an attempt to locate Mrs. Hoskins to check her well-being, a deceased body was located inside a large freezer in the garage. The tenant of the residence voluntarily came to the Sebastian Police Department for questioning as detectives obtained a search warrant for the house on Paddock Street. They executed that search warrant on April 29th, finding Marie's body and other evidence, they said. Police finally said they obtained the arrest warrant against Michele Hoskins on Thursday. During her interview with the police detectives, Michele admits to finding her mother deceased in her bathroom, cops said. Michele subsequently purchased a deep freezer to conceal her mother's death for the concern she would not be able to receive her disability benefits. During the execution of a search warrant on the property, a heavily soiled bed mattress was located concealed in thick brush and covered by cut palm tree branches in the backyard. The investigation revealed Marie's death was from natural causes and that she was deceased for approximately 2 weeks before being placed inside the chest freezer. Defendant Hoskins is at the Indian River County Jail on a $10,000 bond. She faces a count each of failure to report a death and tampering with or destroying evidence. And there is no online court records to show if she has an attorney. That is some wild stuff. Even though this is not surprising to speak on because I've talked about stuff like this before, it doesn't surprise me because I think I did a story a couple months ago where you had two brothers that took out, I believe, the mother and their sister and buried them in order to collect some checks. And if you notice, if you'll find, it's a lot of PC people that tend to do this. Not saying that people who identify as black or any other non-white group doesn't do it, but a lot of the times they will take out their own and hide their bodies in order to continue to collect a check. Or in her case, the parent dies, they don't report it, and then they put their body somewhere in order to continue receiving the check. My thing is this: if your parent was literally outgoing like that, or people were used to seeing them, what makes you think that people wouldn't start questioning why they haven't seen that person in quite some time? Even the neighbor said, we haven't seen her for some time, so we don't know what's going on. Usually we're used to seeing her, but this time we don't know where she is or her whereabouts. But this shows the selfishness on her own daughter's part. This woman is 64 years old, and she was literally doing this to collect her mother's disability checks. Now, some would probably say maybe she's retired and she's not getting the money that she at one point was receiving, and she was trying to get more money. But then, even though her mother died of natural causes, I can't help but think that knowing what she did, she probably couldn't wait for her mother to die so she could collect those checks. I mean, this just seems kind of premeditated on the sense of, granted, she did not take her mother out, but she did not waste no time going out and purchasing a deep freezer to put her mother's body inside. She didn't call the authorities and said, look, my mother is dead, come and get her. Or like, you know, anything like that to have a proper funeral. She went and bought a deep freezer and put her mother's body inside of it, having people to believe that her mother was still alive, having the people who sent her disability check was still alive, because once they report her as dead, those checks stop coming, and she knew that. So she's a trash individual just on that alone. In my opinion, they need to throw away the key when they're done with her. They need to lock her up and throw away the key. And that $10,000 bond, that's weak. And the fact that she hasn't bonded out yet at 10%, which is $1,000, lets you know this woman probably doesn't have much, which is why she did what she did. Or maybe she does and she's trying to pretend like she doesn't. Like they can't go through them assets and see if they can find anything. But yeah, like people are crazy out here. And again, this happened in Florida. Y'all know, people just love sending me stuff from Florida. Florida has some crazy people down there. I'm not saying any other places aren't crazy, but Florida definitely has some weirdos in it for sure, and she's definitely one of them.